Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Mental Health Talk with yours truly. I am Christina McIntyre. I hope that y'all had the best week that you could. Whatever happened, and you weren't satisfied with it, let's leave it. And yesterday, we only can change and worry about today. So don't allow the past to keep controlling your future. Only worry about the now. So before I tell y'all the topic for this week, don't forget to visit my website, www.becomeyourseed.com. I go through the mental, the emotional, physical, and spiritual aspects of ourselves to help us on our journey. Also on Facebook and YouTube, BYC, Become Your C. YouTube, you can view all my podcasts on there. Instagram, Become Your C. I share good information on there, some poetry on there as well. Also, I'm on TikTok at Become Your C. Also, I do sell chakra jewelry to help you on your spiritual journey. I have some new things coming. Along with that, I also am going to be selling incense and incense holders. So if you're interested in learning about the chakras, or you want a piece of jewelry to help you on your journey, you can always inbox me and we can talk about setting up an arrangement. So this week I wanted to talk about how does our addictions affect our mental health? Is it a double-edged sword? And a lot of times people only think about addiction as drugs or alcohol, but addiction can range. You can also be addicted to food, addicted to sex, addicted to social media. That's the thing nowadays. Also, I say addicted to anger, negative thinking. It's a lot of things that can add on to our addiction. Nicotine as well. Even though people smoke weed, they don't think that they can become addicted to it. But anything that you do, if you don't, like, if you can't get a hold of it or if you can't have it and it causes you anxiety, it causes you panic, you may be addicted to that. So the definition of addiction is biopsychosocial disorder characterized by compulsive engagement in rewarding stimuli despite consequences. So you know that maybe this is wrong for you. It could be, or it could lead to being wrong for you, but you still need it, right? We look at main addictions, drug and alcohol, right? So when people become addicted to drugs, they gotta continuously have it. If they don't have it, they turn into someone different, right? Same way with alcohol. You see a lot of people drink, and a lot of times when they don't have their alcohol, and a lot of times people do things to get their fix. And so it's important to understand yourself and where you're at in your addiction, and you can always get help. I wanted to put out there, September is Suicide Awareness Month. Last week I talked briefly about suicide. If you or someone you know is contemplating committing suicide, let them know or yourself know that there is help, and let that not be an option. I know that sometimes our thoughts can take control over us, but there are ways to help you so that you can live a normal life. So the suicide hotline is 1-800-273-8255, or you can visit them on their website at suicideprevention.org. You need you here and we need you here. So make sure that you get the help that you need so you can have the life that you want. So again, yeah, drugs and alcohol, and people don't look at other things as being addiction as well. Like I say coffee, so I drink coffee even though it's decaf every day, and so for me it brings me peace, and that's why I said it's a double-edged sword, because for me I feel like I need it, and I don't need it, because when I don't have it, I'm not as happy as I am when I have it. So that's why I said it can help your anxiety, or it can make it worse. And for me, like, it brings me peace, but when I don't have it, it does increase anxiety and panic, and I'm like, I need it. So anything that you do that causes you stress when you're not involved in it, can become an addiction. I say social media now because everything is about social media, and they're doing studies about when people aren't active in social media, they feel like part of their life is over, right? They feel like they can't function without looking at social media. So you gotta figure out what things in your life that can be a habit, right? Some habits are good, but some habits are bad, and you got to figure out which ones is taking you away. And addictions, a lot of time, they add stress to your life, and if they're affecting your life in any way, like let's say you're addicted to food, right? We need food to survive, and this is a difficult addiction because a lot of people that are addicted to food, um, they don't know how to stop, right? There is a lot of shows about it, like 600 Pound Life, and these people clearly they need help, but for them, the addiction is worth more than getting help. They do try to get help, but a lot of times, what happens when we are so deep in our addiction, we can't help ourselves, so we need to seek out to get help. But the problem with a lot of addictions is that we want someone to help us, but mentally we're not ready to change over the thought process. And that's how you break addiction. You have to change your thought process. But it's hard if you're used to doing something for so long and trying to change your way of thinking, it can actually cause more anxiety and more panic. So you have to do things in step. I think people sometimes want to rush the healing process, but it's all a journey and it all takes steps. And if you try to rush it, it can backfire. So certain addictions, if you try to take away too fast, you can go through withdrawal, such as drugs and alcohol. That's why they have clinics to help ease people off of it. And sometimes people that are addicted to alcohol, they find themselves in worse situations than they were when they were drinking heavy, because your body goes into shock. Your body gets so used to this, and when you pull it away, it's like your brain and your body working together. It doesn't know what to do. So your body actually can shut down. So you should definitely do it at an even pace. That way you don't do more damage to yourself. People with an addiction are 2 times more likely to have a mental health illness. So you can be addicted to things without having mental health disorders, but these addictions can cause mental health disorders. And some of them are PTSD, anxiety, panic, bipolar disorder, and depression. Some drugs can cause schizophrenic states. So you have to be mindful. And it's a lot of reasons why people become addicted to things. Family history is one. This is one factor. Early drug use. When people are introduced to drugs or experiences early on, most likely they will become addicted to whatever their addiction is later on in life. Psychosis, and psychosis is a mental health disorder. It's a disconnection from reality. Toxic relationships. Now, this was interesting. I didn't know that if you're in a toxic relationship, it can lead for you to have an addiction. So it's definitely got to be mindful about the people you're around and who you allow in your circle, especially if they're causing you extreme stress. We tend to turn to things to help our stress, and like having a glass of wine, you hear some people say, but when that becomes an habitual, everyday routine, it can turn into an addiction, and you don't realize it. You just thinking you're doing something to ease the stress, but over time, and then if you can't have it, you turn into someone that you're not. Also, having trauma and violent crimes. If you're exposed to either one of them, it can cause an addiction. So we can't control everything that happens around us or to us, right? Especially if things happen to us when we were growing up. A lot of childhood trauma, most of those people tend to experience things early, like sex, drugs, alcohol. A lot of people that have been raped tend to overeat. They'll overeat to make themselves less attractive so doesn't happen again. But a lot of times people that have been raped once may get raped again. So we have to be careful and mindful of this. A lot of things we can't predict. The only thing that we can do is get the help that we need. And a lot of people are ashamed to say that they are addicted to things, or they don't want to face their reality, right? They don't want to be honest with themselves and knowing they have an issue. And a lot of times addictions can affect your relationships. Families can be broken. Your intimate relationships can be broken by your addiction. So if you're doing things that's causing harm or stress or disorder and it's breaking up things, like if you are addicted to things and you can't go to work, or you're not involved with your household, you're not doing things that you used to be doing because of your addiction. Maybe you're stealing, maybe these addictions is causing outbursts like anger, frustration. Some people, when they're addicted to drugs and alcohol, they may become abusive. So you have to watch out for all these things. Now, a lot of things can happen which can cause your addiction. And at the end of the day, though, you have to kind of take some fight back in that. Like, you have to take control back over your life. Some people may not see it's a problem. So if you're involved with people that are addicted, you can only be there for them for so much, because a lot of times addiction can weigh heavy on you. And now you're taking on this role that you didn't put yourself in. So you have to ask yourself, is it worth giving this person a chance to improve? And we can want the best for people, but if they don't want it for themselves, we have to make a decision whether we keep allowing this person in our life or not. We have to do the best thing, our best decision for ourselves. And sometimes that can hurt, right? When we have to let people go because they chose their addiction over the relationship. Let's see. So again, addiction is a double-edged sword. I say that again because, like, some things we feel like can help us, and then it can cause our mental health issues. But it's like we fight to let them go, even though we know it may be best for us. But it also gives us some peace. Like, in our minds, it gives us peace. So we're afraid to live life without the addiction. But it kind of becomes our friend. It becomes our comfort. And a lot of people don't realize they're addicted to things. And people, you see addiction as just drugs and alcohol. It's not just that. It's anything that causes frustration and stress in your life. Anything that pulls you away from living your life the way that is, I guess, what you consider normal. So I guess it all depends on who you ask. But this is just, for everybody. It's hard because when you're living in an addiction, you can't see things on the other side. You only see from one point of view. And until you get help, you don't see anything wrong with your behavior. A lot of people have lost loved ones to an addiction, especially like if you drink and drive. A lot of times your thought process when you're really drunk is not the same as when you're sober. And so you think that you can do more things and don't realize the effects of it. A lot of people have died from people drinking and driving. I had an uncle that used to drink and drive and got into a bad accident because of it. So be careful. And I know a lot of things contribute to why people become addicted. Like, you can actually have an addictive personality. Like, for myself, I believe I have an addictive personality. And then I try to watch what I do. Now, I do smoke cigarettes, which isn't great for you. We all know that they're bad. Am I addicted? Yes, because I feel like I need it. And if I don't have it, I'll be stressed out. But if I have it, for me, it helps relieve my stress. And so it's important to know yourself. It's important to know when you need to change. And that's the whole thing. It's like we have to do this for ourselves. Everybody always want people to change, but it doesn't work like that. If the person doesn't want it, there's nothing that you can do about it. And they can wind up being in the hospital. They can wind up losing everything they have, but the addiction just keeps feeding them. We see people on the street all the time because they chose their addiction over everything else. And so sometimes you have to let people be where they're at until they're ready. Never like totally give up on someone, but you sometimes you got to keep people at an arm's reach because you can't allow their energy to affect you. And then I also tie chakras into addiction. Now, this is more on a spiritual side. So when we have an imbalance chakra, root chakra is your first chakra, is located at the base of your spine. And then your sacral chakra is the second chakra, is located below your navel. And then also the throat chakra, it's located where your throat is at. An imbalance of these three chakras can cause an addiction. And the sacral and the root is responsible for trauma. So undealt with trauma in your childhood. People don't realize that their childhood has affected them in some way until they get older. Like the way your parents may have treated you, the way your friends may have treated you, your environment. Everything affects us as we get older, and we don't realize it until we get older. Also, your throat. Your throat is responsible for communication, expression. If you're not able to express yourself, you tend to turn to things that you don't have to worry about. Like a lot of people, their addiction is in hiding, right? People tend to, let's see, like take food for example. You don't realize somebody is overeating. They do it in hiding, or they'll eat like in the car, and then when they get home, they'll eat again. If you drink. Maybe someone has a flask or a bottle. You think it's water, but the whole time it might be vodka or tequila in there. So a lot of people kind of are ashamed of their addiction. They just don't see a way out, and they feel like that's their comfort. So we have to heal those wounds that we had since childhood. And a lot of people don't want to do the work. I am in the process of dealing with it now. It's not fun, right? You got to figure out why you behave the way that you do, why certain things happen, why do you become addicted. And a lot of times people have addictions because they're hiding some type of pain. And so we mask it with the addiction, right? We feel like, oh, if I do this, this will take the pain away, this will eliminate it. And sometimes it does, like when you're stressed or you're going through something. And for me, like I used to drink heavy. I thought alcohol would take it all away. So for me, that became my livelihood. I would work. I was functioning. I wouldn't say I was like on a far stream of being an alcoholic, but about 4 times a week, I would go home from work and tall glass of vodka and orange juice, more vodka in it than orange juice, and that became my life. And I did it in secret, but I was able to function. And so I would drink heavy, go to sleep. I was fine. I woke up because I had to work the next day. And that became my life. It wasn't until I had my son and I got pregnant that I stopped. So sometimes things can happen in our life that can save us. I believe that he saved me. Do I occasionally drink now? Yes, but I have control over it. So sometimes things have to happen to kind of wake us up. And we need to do it before it's too late. And you should never be ashamed of your addiction, right? Things happen to us. And that's how we cope. And people try to tell us, oh, we should cope this way. Now, once you have your addiction, you do learn new ways of coping. But when something happens to you, you're not trying to hear what therapist has to say, what a psychologist has to say, what some people turn to church to help with them, what the pastor has to say. You want to deal with your pain, how you were dealing with it. And that's okay in the moment. But if you want things to change, you have to change your thought process. You have to change the way you go about doing things. And I urge people or I offer people the chakra way of dealing with things. It's not really any different than going to traditional therapy. It's just another approach of dealing with things. Like you're looking more internally, of how to deal with things, why we suffer the way we do with chakras. If you have pain located in different parts of your body, it actually is telling you that something is not balanced, and so you have to find ways to balance them. And I talk about this. So if you're interested in learning about the chakra approach to healing, you can always inbox me. I can help you as much as I can, but at the end of the day, you have to begin the journey somehow. You have to decide when you're ready to get the healing, and that's the hardest part. The first step is saying something is wrong and I need help. Don't be ashamed, because all of us, we have things that we need to work on. I think people look down tend to look down on people that are exactly perfect, right? We're all not perfect. We all have things about ourselves that we need to change, and it should be a continuous process, right? We should never become stagnant in where we're at in our life. We should always want for more. We should always achieve for more. We should desire more. And don't look down on people that are addicted to things. We should be encouraged in them. Sometimes offering a word of hope and inspiration can actually lift someone out of their dark place. We can't judge people because we don't have it all together either. Always remember, I tell people, always remain humble in yourself, because you could be where someone is at. You don't know what happened to people that cause their addiction, right? Sometimes people have had so much trauma, that's the only way they can have normalcy. And it's like we can't go in there and tell them that that's not normal to them. We can just offer hope. It's a lot of people that go out into the community and just have a listening ear. And sometimes that's all people need from you is a listening ear. Maybe they're not ready to give up on their addiction. And I have to say, like, that's okay. We're in different places in our life where we're not ready yet to come out of that. And that is okay. You get to decide what you want to do for your life. You get to decide when you want to stop hurting. Addictions can help and they can hurt you. And you have to decide for yourself if your addiction is doing more harm than good. And if it's doing more harm, then you decide when you want to stop the pain. A lot of times, or sometimes, it might be too late. So I just urge people, don't let it be too late. Deal with whatever you have to deal with in your own way, but then decide that you've had enough and you want your life back. Now, and you're never going to be, or your life is never going to go back to what it was before. I think a lot of times we want to be the person that we were before the trauma happened or life happened. Maybe you had death that happened in your family, and so you turn to an addiction for that. For me, I had a lot of things happen. My father got killed when I was 10, and I didn't realize that. I was writing the other day, wrote a poem, and didn't realize how that has impacted me in my journey in life. And so now I'm trying to break that and all the trauma and stuff and the things that we do and why we pick the people in our relationships that we do. Like, I've had toxic relationships, so it explains undealt with trauma can cause a lot of these. And we don't realize that we can be addicted to hurt people, right? And so we choose people that there may be something wrong with, because we have that healer mentality. So being addicted to brokenness can be a thing. I mean, that's more on the spiritual side, but anything that is taken away from us, taken away from our energy, taken away from us progressing, is an addiction. Don't just think of it as drugs and alcohol, sex, food. Negative thinking can be addicting. We're so used to being in a place and we can't pull ourselves out, right? So think about these things and ask yourself, are you addicted to anything? People tend to think that these things aren't addictive, but if it causes you so much stress, if to the point where if you don't have it, you're ready to beat someone up, or you're ready to do anything you have to get this fixed, then you may be an addict. And that is okay. Like, I don't want people to think that is something wrong with them because they are addicted to something. We all got our burdens to carry. We all have things that we need to look at differently, right? And so my thing for my purpose that I want for people is to realize that no matter where you're at in your addiction or in your life or your mental status, right? It's important to know that we are not labeled if we suffer from mental health disorders. But we are people just like anyone else, right? A lot of people hide behind their mental health disorders. They hide behind their addictions because people label people. People judge people before they even get to know them. And so let us not do that, right? Let us look at ourselves before we start to point the finger at someone, before we start to judge them. A lot of times we judge other people because it's something in them that we see that we don't have in ourselves. And so we think that if we tear them down, that's going to make us feel better. So I urge people to do the work they need to get healed, so that we're not out here doing those things to harm other people, because I believe in karma. Karma comes back. Even our thoughts, right? The words that we speak affect people, so we should be speaking life into people and not putting them down. And that's pretty much sums it up. Like, ask yourself, are you suffering from addiction? Do you have an addictive personality? And what can you do to change that? What are you willing to do to change that? Are you okay in your addiction? Is your addiction taking you away from doing those things that bring you pleasure, right? Living your life the way that you want to. And sometimes procrastination can be an addiction if you're so used to it. If it's stopping you from doing those things in life that can bring you satisfaction, that can make you happy. And just look at it, addiction, as differently, right? Don't just look at it as the drug users or the alcoholics and stuff. Look at it as other things that you're doing in your life that can definitely be detrimental to your health, right? It's a lot of things that we don't look at, but just try to think outside of the box and look at yourself. I urge people to meditate every day. Meditation is great for a lot of different things. It helps you get in touch with yourself. It can, the answers that you seek, and I always say this, the answers you seek is always within, if you listen quietly. So take time every day, 5 minutes it takes. Prayer is a form of meditation. Take that time to sit down and reflect with yourself and seeing what's on the inside, why you do the things that you do, why you respond the way that you do, right? We all need to work on ourselves just a little bit, right? We're never going to be perfect, but before you point the finger, before you judge, before you say that person's an addict, oh, it's their fault, ask yourself, what would you do if you were in their shoes, right? People don't just become addicts because they figure, oh, hey, let's do something. No, they become addicts because something has happened to them, maybe mentally, emotionally, physically, or spiritually. And that's how they chose to deal with their pain. Again, let's figure out a different way, though, to kind of heal. But when you're ready, it's help out there. When you're ready, it's people to talk to. If you want to learn about the more holistic approach, you can always message me. Don't allow your addiction to take you away from the life that you know you deserve. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Don't forget to visit me on my website, www.becomingyourc.com. I share about our mental, emotional, physical, spiritual aspects of ourselves to help people on their spiritual journey. Also, I have new jewelry for sale with the chakras. If you're interested to help you on your journey, you can inbox me. I also sell incense now. Also, follow me on Instagram, Become Your C, Facebook, and YouTube, BYC, Become Your C. Also, I'm on TikTok at Become Your C. And my words for today and to take away from today, don't allow people's judgments on you to deter you from getting the help that you need. And whatever it is that you're going through, know that everything is always temporary and there is a sunshine after this. Give yourself enough um, give yourself enough encouragement to know that no matter where you're at in your life, you do matter. You do deserve to be here, and that you're going to get through this. Fall in love with yourself so the world can fall in love with you. Till next time. Boom.